Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to the channel. This is a very special video for me, and it's all about this guitar, this Columbus Series 3 335 copy. And the reason I have this guitar is because it was the first guitar I ever owned. Unfortunately, this isn't the actual first guitar I ever owned because we couldn't track that down, but it's identical to the first guitar I ever owned 33 years ago when I started learning. And it's really hard to explain, but some of you might understand this. This guitar is kind of like a symbol and represents where it all began for me. Music has been a massive part of my life, and guitar playing has been a huge part of my life for so long, and it's my whole identity is the guitar. And I've come to a point in my life, I suppose, where I'm looking back as much as I'm looking forward, and I really wanted to get reconnected with the instrument that started it all off for me. I remember getting this when I was 13 years old. I think it was about £80. It came with a little amp or something. It was second-hand. I bought off a friend of mine, and I absolutely fell in love with it because one, it's pretty, and two, when I started learning, I just fell in love with the guitar straight away, and this was the instrument that got me started on my way. The reason I got rid of it was because the style of music I got into very quickly was like Van Halen, Steve Vai, Satriani, that kind of thing, and it wasn't the right guitar for that. And then I moved on to a Charvette, and you can see a video on one of those. The second guitar I ever owned here, which I don't own, it belongs to a friend of mine. So this is what happened. I've been searching for one of these for a long time, and they're like hen teeth. You know, you can't find them anywhere. Not very many of them anyway. And I've been looking, and then one day I just happened to have a little browse over my morning coffee, and one came up on Reverb, and I was like, oh my god, there's one there, right, exactly like I used to have. But unfortunately, you know, the times we're in at the moment, being a musician, not the greatest, don't really have any money to spend on guitars. But my awesome friend and super fan, Mark Fresher, massive shout out. He also runs the BHB, unofficial BHB YouTube, which will be linked in the description as well, for me. And he mods in all of my Twitch streams as well. He's an absolute legend, and his wife Maria, absolute legends. And they are really supportive of me and very generous. He, without hesitation, because all I did was I just put a thing up on my Discord, say, look, I found one, look at this, awesome. And without hesitation, he put the money in my PayPal account and said, go buy it now. And it was, it's been very emotional, this whole thing. This video is me unboxing it, obviously, and doing some work to it. And then there's obviously, you've seen a clip of me playing it at the beginning, there's a clip of me playing it at the end. So you can skip on to that. This video will have lots of chapters, so you can skip on to the bits you want to, rather than listen to me waffle on. But two things have happened. One is I've been reunited with my first guitar, which is great, and it's been very nostalgic, because this was my best friend for a good few years through the difficult teenage years, you know, and I learned a hell of a lot of my earlier guitar skills on this guitar. Like I say, it's not this exact one, but it is identical. So that was really great. But what I didn't expect was for this to be such a great guitar. And I remember it not being such a great guitar, but then I was new to guitar, so I didn't really understand how to set a guitar up. I didn't even understand how to string and tune it properly for a while anyway. I had to get my friends to do it for me and things like that. So this is a really good guitar. Now, it is an entry-level guitar. It's not the bestest of qualities, obviously, because it was aimed at the entry-level market, but it is really good. Not lawsuit. I don't think it's lawsuit. I don't quite understand the lawsuit thing, but I think it's after lawsuit because it's 88. So the changes have been made to the headstock and things like that. But I'll talk a little about that in the video. But just to give you a quick rundown of specs and everything I found out about it, because it's really hard to get information on these. If anybody's got extra information on these, I would greatly appreciate it if you could put it in the comments. But what I know is this has a mahogany neck, rosewood fingerboard. It has a sustain block going through the middle, which is solid mahogany as well. So it's a semi-hollow, not a full hollow. We don't know about the pickups. Earlier ones did use DiMaggio's. These look like DiMaggio's, but there's nothing to say they are DiMaggio's. And it's a plywood body laminated. And that's about it, really. It has die-cast tuners, which are nice. Plastic nut, Tune-o-matic bridge. And that's basically it. Standard 3-way toggle switch with your separate volumes, separate tones. It's quite a thin profile. It's got binding, nice binding all the way around. It's a 3-ply binding, I think. 4-ply. 4-ply binding going all the way around the front and back, and white binding on the neck. It is a thing of beauty, and it's now become my number one guitar, and which is kind of ironic in a way, because it was my number one guitar, and now it kind of is my number one guitar. I absolutely love this thing, and the more I play it, the more it settles in. It just brings an absolute smile to my face every time I look at it, pick it up, and it is an awesome reminder every time I feel like giving up on music, or it's not going right for me or whatever. I just look at this thing and think, wow, it brings joy to my heart, and I can't thank Mark enough for making this happen. Some of you might think I'm an absolute lunatic, but it's emotional for me. Puts a frog in my throat. But anyway, let's get on with the video. I hope you enjoy it. I take it all to pieces and set it up and stuff, and all of that. Anyway, if you have a connection to your first guitar, or you've sold a guitar and you miss it, or you want to get your first guitar back or something like that, then let's talk about it. Put it in the comments. Start a conversation, if you like. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. It's a long one, but thanks for sticking with it. Also want to point out there's some awesome Hutch Club merch. Links are in the description. We've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts and mouse mats and phone cases and all kinds of things, and there's going to be new things added as well in the future. You can get yours there and proudly let the nation know that you are a Hutch Clubber. How cool is that? Thank you, Ursula. Okay, it's now the next day. I had a real blast playing this on stream last night. It arrived literally 2 hours before the stream, so I didn't have a chance to do anything to it. All I could do really was tune it up and get on with it. It's been hung up in the shop window, or on a shop wall, for over a year, I've been told, and it's still got grubby marks and dust all over it and stuff like that. Not having to go at the place I bought it. They were absolutely excellent. They got it to me really quickly, and even emailed me to say when they took it off the wall it wasn't working, and they fixed it before they sent it, which they did. There's something with the electrics, but they've done that. So now I have the opportunity to get into it, set it up how I like it, do some fret work if necessary, and have a look. These pickups, I don't know whether these are stock pickups or what, but they absolutely sing. I know that the early 70s ones, or some of them had DiMaggios in, so I don't know whether they're DiMaggios or not, but we'll have a look anyway. But the setup on this guitar is pretty decent, so I don't have to do a lot. I know I don't have to do a lot to it. The intonation's out slightly, so we're going to look at that. Electrics and things, I believe, are all original. I mean, this thing is pretty much identical to the one I had. It does have some wounds, obviously. It's got some dents here and there, some scratches. The scratch plate's missing. Mine was missing as well. Well, it wasn't missing, I threw it out, so I hated it. But it does have dings and stuff. It's a 33-year-old guitar, so you can expect that. It's got some signs of use, but I don't mind that, because it means it's been played and used, and rightly so, because it is a beautiful guitar to play. I was very, very shocked. I thought it was going to be terrible, but it actually isn't. But we got some dings and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get into it. Right, so get the strings off first. They look like new strings, but I think they're 10 gauge and I use 9 gauge. So we're going to whip them off first. It's really hard to find any information on these guitars with regard to specs and what they're actually made of and stuff like that. But I know it's a rosewood neck, and I know it's a mahogany neck. So it's a rosewood fretboard, sorry, mahogany neck. It has a sound board, or what do you call it, a sustain block going right through the middle. So it is a semi-hollow, which I also believe is a mahogany block. I'm just going to whip the pickups out in a minute. I don't know if you can see. Obviously this is a 1988. The quality control wasn't the best. I mean, these block inlays are all crooked. It looks like they've been filled around here. I don't care though. Frets themselves look really nice. They're a little bit wear down here, but I'm going to polish these out and level them up. The ends are nice. It's all, the fret works really nice, so not worried about that. Tuners are actually good as well. They're actually nice, smooth tuners. Quite impressed with that. And then you've got your standard, obviously, this stuff which you get today on all kinds of guitars. So I'm going to whip these out. I'm dying to know what these are and whether they're stock or not. To me they look like they're stock, but let's have a look. Go pick up out. There's no markings on it whatsoever, so there's no indication what that could be. I think that's stock. It's just a stock pickups. They are absolutely brilliant though. Just look like your standard what you get. I can see inside now as well. You can see the solid block in the middle there, which looks like it is a piece of mahogany, and you can also see, I don't know if you can tell from there, it is a plywood top. So the body's plywood. I'm not sure about the sides and back, but I should imagine it all in. I'm just taking the opportunity to clean, and I'm going to polish all this as well. Some tea cut or something, just to polish it up, get the colour popping out and get some scratches out. I noticed that this is screwed all the way down and this is screwed all the way down, but the action is actually okay. I haven't looked at the truss rod yet, but I think that's okay as well. So I think it looks like it's had a setup in the shop. So it's not going to go any lower, but it doesn't need to, in my opinion. It plays exactly how I like it. I like a little bit of height on my strings anyway, because I am aggressive. So I'm happy with the action, so I don't need to worry about that. But the intonation is out, and I've noticed that these two here are pulled all the way back, and it was the G string and the B string that I was having intonation problems with. So the only way I could get them to go further back if they need to is to flip them around. So you've got these three facing that way and these three facing that way, because it will give me, if you see where the string goes over the saddle, another few millimeter in that direction. So I may have to do that, but we'll see when we come to intonate it. But yeah, ripped off the neck pickup, and inside there you can see there's two screws going through there, and I don't know whether that is an afterthought by someone who's owned this guitar, because I remember, even though it was a long time ago, that my guitar had tuning issues, and it was because the neck wasn't secure in the pocket. It used to move a little bit around in the pocket, and it's also glued here as well. You can see glue in there, so I think somebody may have done that. It looks like super glue and two screws going down that way. It is solid, so that obviously works, which is great. Okay, onto the headstock. This is after lawsuit, so the truss rod cover's been changed from the bell type one, like a Les Paul. The logo's been changed, and the shape of the headstock's been changed, all in accordance with the lawsuit, I believe. This headstock's got a few dings. It's had a chip out there. Looks like someone's just put some paint on it. To be honest, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'll just clean it and leave it as is, I think. The tuners are great. They're really nice quality, much better than you get on entry-level guitars these days. Not going to change them at all. I'm not going to change anything on this guitar, actually. I'm going to keep it all as is, original. A couple of them are loose, so we'll just tighten those up. I don't need to do anything else, really. They still feel quite tight on the mechanisms, no problems at all. And again, just polish this neck up a bit, and the back and stuff. See the build up of dirt under there. Get rid of that. So I'm just taking everything off, just cleaning up, polishing up everywhere. I've done all this area now, cleaned the pickups. Because I might as well while I've got everything off. Unfortunately, it's losing its smell. It smelt like old music shop. Dusty. And the more I'm cleaning it, that's disappearing. Fortunately. Right, I've cleaned up all around this area. All the hardware's cleaned up, pickups are cleaned up, I've polished all out under there. So I'm going to leave the rest of the guitar for when the strings are on. I'm going to tackle the frets. I've just done a little bit of work down here. There's a couple of high frets, so I've just done a little bit of filing off and crowning on there. There is a couple of dings in the fret here. This one's the worst one. Lots of chords have been played on this guitar, obviously. But it's not bad enough to worry about at the moment. The rest of the frets all look good. They just need a good old polish up. The nut looks good. The nut looks original, actually, but looks good, so I'm not going to worry about that. I didn't have any issues when I was playing it last night, other than the intonation was out slightly. So yeah, let's polish this up and make it look pretty like. So I've started polishing the frets up, which are coming up okay. They're not in terrible shape. This one here is probably the worst one, but it wasn't causing me any problems when I was playing it, so I'm going to leave it for now. Probably replace that one at some point, and maybe this one, but the rest don't look too bad. And you can see here there's some actual finger wear in the rosewood. Feels quite lumpy there. So this guitar is definitely used as a rhythm guitar, I think, with lots of chord playing going on, which would account for these frets being the most worn, and for that there. I'll carry on polishing these out. You can see how crooked that is. That one's got a chip out of it. Crooked. Don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I'm going to carry on polishing those out, and then we'll look at the headstock, which is in a bit of a bad way. Then we'll service the tuners and stuff. So I've given that a bit of a polish up. Looks nice, tightened everything up. And down the neck, you can see it's a nice piece of mahogany. You can see that gloss finish, but not sticky. And it's got some dings and things. So I could sand this down and refinish it, but you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it as is. Every little ding has a story. I don't know what the story is, but I mean, you've got some indentations here where it's probably leant up against a side in some kid's bedroom or something, maybe. That kind of thing. It's probably fallen over a few times, whatever, but yes, it's not going to affect its playability, and I quite like the scars and stuff. So that's getting left as is.